Welcome. This is a mediocre short story by Toby. I was living in San Francisco, and my family lived in Roanoke, Virginia. So once a year, I would fly back and forth. And this particular trip, I had been in Roanoke for about 2.5 weeks, and I was just ready to get home. I was just so over it and just chomping at the bit to get back to San Francisco. So I ended up taking a red eye, and I have to take two connecting flights. The first flight was delayed, just complete chaos, flying Delta, which is one of the worst airlines. So by the time I get to Chicago at 1 a.m. in the morning, I am just exhausted, physically exhausted, spiritually exhausted, emotionally exhausted. And all I want to do is go to sleep. So I get on the 1 a.m. flight from Chicago to San Francisco, and it's just packed. I mean, I feel like I'm on a Guatemalan chicken bus. There's like chickens, goats running around, and just everyone screaming and chaos and kids and oh man, it was just horrible. And the flight was packed, except there was no one in the middle seat. I was in the window, as I always like to take the window, and then there was like some tech bro on the aisle seat, but there was no one in the middle. So I was like, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And before we could really start taxiing, the last passenger got on the plane, and this gentleman gets on the plane, and no kidding, he's like 6'9", 380, right? Like just a big, massive man. And he's like coming down the aisle, and I'm scanning, are there any open seats anywhere? The only open seat is beside me, and sure enough, he needs to get into the middle seat, and he can't even fit in. So they have to lift up the armrest, right? And this massive guy sits down, and like a quarter of his body weight goes on me, a quarter of it goes on the other dude, and I just want to scream, right? Except this guy, like all of a sudden, he pulls his arms up, and I get this whiff of just like fresh laundry, just like a cool mountain breeze. He smells so wonderful, and he says, "Guys, the great thing about a big fat guy like me is you can sleep on me." And he pulls up his massive arms and hugs me and the other guy, right? And instantly everything was going to be okay. And I remember like during the mid-flight, like I wake up, and I'm literally drooling on this man because I'm sleeping on his man boob. And I wake up and startle myself, and he looks down at me with this big warm smile, takes a tissue, wipes my mouth, and then just cuddles me, and I instantly go back to sleep. And I could honestly say it was probably the best sleep I've ever got on a plane. This has been a mediocre story time with Toby Dixon.